Thank you very much, Mary. It's time for us to go through the front pages of the newspaper, and I'm not doing this alone. I've got Mike with me. Hello, Mike.
Okay. All right.
So we start off with the Nation newspaper. Making the headlines here, we have fresh, excuse me, fresh inflow triples foreign investors' portfolios to 598 billion naira. Total transactions at the NGX rose from 2.15 trillion naira to 3.1 trillion naira in 1 year. And at the top of the paper here, scheme to eliminate trade bottlenecks roll out. And 220 illegal refineries found in 1 week. Vandalized pipelines are rise. Sorry, I'm trying to... okay, moving on. Why airports are performing below capacity by FAN. And Minister, our plans for National Youth Dialogue. And just right here at the bottom of the paper, passport fees rise to 100,000 naira, 50,000 naira. Applicants abroad not affected. And finally, plots to remove Damagum deepens PDP crisis. And that's all on the cover of the Nation. And Mike, so there are two stories here that sort of got my attention.
Okay.
One is the illegal refineries. There has been, the government has been, there's been a crackdown by the government on illegal refineries popping up from, you know, the oil and gas to palm oil to artisanal. Yes. But they still keep coming up, especially in the Niger Delta. And
that's the region. That's where the oil is. They will. The people feel cheated.
Yeah.
People feel, maligned. People feel used. And what happens in that kind of situation? They want to fight for themselves, and then they want to have some share of the national cake. As I saw one of these refineries. In fact, getting to that place, the marshy, it was, the mangrove, the swamp that you had to even get to go there. And then these guys were refining, like you saw them refining oil, like almost everything in. Do you understand? It just goes to show you how bad the situation of things are. Yeah. You understand? We have to find them. When people feel that way, like, okay, we are the people that are suffering these things. Are we compensated enough? Or even the majority of this thing you're talking about, it's just a messed up situation.
It is.
And for me, as much as we're cracking down on them, how can we get the best of these kind of things? Because it seems like, I don't know, in over 10 years, there's been no new refinery in Africa. We have allegations of people, of Africans who own refineries outside the continent, to tell you how, it's not just greed, to tell you how wicked people can be. You want to keep people down, all at the expense of you.
Themselves.
Getting more wealth and all of that. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, it is.
It's just mind-boggling.
And I know that we were going to touch on briefly on the passport fees increase. So the federal government has come out to say that there's going to be an increase, and this is going to take effect from the 1st of next month. And they're saying that this is basically to maintain the standard and the quality and integrity.
I'm surprised that you go now. If you go now to get, you'll not get anyone till that first reach now. They will just be delaying you now.
And so
I've rushed to try and get 10 pages.
For the 32-page one, which is valid for 5 years, it's been increased from 35 to 50,000. And then the 64-page one, which has a 10-year validity, has been increased from 70 to 100,000 naira. And well. This goes to say, well, we'll see. But you want to take the Vanguard or any other?
No, I don't have that.
Okay, I'll just go ahead. So let's take the Vanguard newspaper, making the headlines here. Still on fuel scarcity. Petrol scarcity worsens as marketers load at 780 naira per litre. Transport fares rise by over 200%. Nigeria becoming failed state, says Pengerson, and transporters lament impact on business. At the top of the paper here, on food inflation reducing, will reduce it further, says Finance Minister. Hashtag end bad governance. CSOs berate federal government over prolonged detention of protesters without charges. You can find more of that story on page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper. Federal government increases international passport fees. We're discussing that briefly. Police invitation to Ajero. More critical unions give strike notices. And here we have federal government finally criminalizes vandalism of telecom facilities in new gazette. And fake certificates. Uganda, Kenya rights jam, demand student verification. And here is a picture story of Chris Famunyo, Special Advisor on Africa to the U.S. President, former Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and Mr. Peter Obi at the National Democratic Institute International Leaders Forum, which happened in the USA recently. That was yesterday. Okay, so you want to touch on any stories here?
The food inflation is quite very important. If we should lessen that as much as possible, and like I say, the subsidy or whatever, that is the most important thing now. When people cannot even eat, it's the most basic human need. Talking about food, so that is where we need the most subsidy, and that's where we need the most intervention from government, as it were.
So let's just take one more paper before we wrap this up. On the Punch newspaper, making the headlines here. PDP's chair, Wike tackle Clark as anti-Fubara plot thickens. Sounds like a movie. Pro-Fubara Wike assemblies hold parallel sessions, rumble in NYC over Rivers government. And I won't quit PDP, says Wike as Ikimi heads disciplinary panel on ex-governors' anti-party cases. At the bottom of the paper here, Togo Benin owe Nigeria $14 million for electricity, says NEC. And e-hailing drivers reject fare slash, threaten strike. Federal government working to avert impending ASU strike, says ministry. That story has been brewing since the beginning of this week. Still on the Dangote refinery, reduces crude import from U.S., says reports. Government plans fresh $100 billion investments. And federal government hikes passport fees to 50,000 naira, 100,000 naira. And that's all on the Punch newspaper.